This is a hut-to-hut hike in the Picos de Europa National Park in northern Spain. Hey yo, Chef Corso, Outdoor Eats. I'm here to put you on the path to amazing meals on your outdoor treks. And guys, I had never heard of the Picos de Europa until a few months ago, but look at this place. This place is incredible. Multiple layers of chunky mountains, gorgeous limestone spires, and just incredible valleys. A couple nuggets before we get going. This is a 6-day, 5-night trip for 5 people. I've got 4 of my great friends and recipe testers coming over from Seattle. I was filming an episode of Outdoor Eats TV in Switzerland, so I flew from Zurich to Bilbao. They flew from Seattle to Bilbao, rented a car, and drove the couple hours from Bilbao over to the smaller towns for the jumping off point for the national park. And other thing to note here for this trip is I booked it with a company called BEVERAGE. New to me, but they reached out to me early on in the year. They aren't sponsoring this video, but we got connected. What BEVERAGE does is they provide booking services. So they take care of the permits, they take care of the reservations. There's no guide along on this trip. We are doing that ourselves, but it's an interesting, different way, and it's been super helpful for an area that none of us is very familiar with, none of us has ever really been to, in order to get the accommodations that we need and also give us a nice trip report for details for the hike, some topos, and some other things, so we are prepared for the hike. But super interesting company and new to me, but they have been very, very helpful thus far in setting up this whole journey. Thing to note for these huts, each one is a little different. In the Picos de Europa, there is a group of 9 different huts. So you could just hut to hut hike for the whole few days that you want to. And breakfast and dinner is usually included. They range from anywhere from 20 beds all the way up to 60 to 100 beds. So it just kind of depends. Each one has its own little flair. Each one has its own little flavor. And you get some awesome local food and local flavors along the way. We've had a couple great meals already. It's fantastic. And for me, being a chef and being a foodie, it's, you know, I love cooking, and we could have easily brought a stove up here, but pretty awesome to have someone cook you dinner here at over a mile up in the middle of the big old chunky mountains. What I'm going to do in this video is let the scenery do the talking, because it is absolutely gorgeous. But at the end, I'm going to share a little bit more about our specific route, how long it took, if it was hard, if it was easy, and a little bit more details about this area and how we booked this trip. So I'll put a timestamp here in the bottom if you want to zoom forward to that. So enjoy this hut-to-hut hike in the Picos de Europa in northern Spain, and I'll see you at the end. really big valleys. Moody up here. It's changing every few minutes. Wispy clouds coming in. It is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Little cloudy, but we made it. Come on, son, you can do it. Salute. That thing is huge, and just right there. Wow. Oh, it finally came out. Look at that thing. Wow. Clouds finally cleared in the evening right before dinner. Just enough time. Wow, look at that. These are huge, chunky. It is massive, and it's right in front. This park just keeps on going over every ridge line. There's just a whole nother chunk of awesomeness that I have never seen before, and I love that. Wow. It's very hard to share how big this area is. It is vast, big old basins, chunky spires, and then scrambling up something like this, and holy shit.
Un pato.
Yo soy de tipo así, speedboard o cosas así, que te den el pie.
Aquí de speedboard. Te lo fundes con dos salidas.
Hace 2 traveserinas, iba corriendo ¿dónde estaba Nacho? ¿Cómo se llama? Ya, joder, bajando 2 o 3 para abajo. Arriba.
Look at that thing. And look at where that is. That is where we're staying on night 2. Another amazing refugio. What is this? This is incredible. I wish you guys could see this because this is huge. Huge, huge mountains. Path down. Seriously, incredible. Let's have a beer. Change your shoes into some comfy ones and don't have to drag all the dirt in here. Common area for dinner. Oh, super cool. Yes. This is like the coolest mountain cabin ever. This one's a little smaller. Go here, here. Everyone gets a numbered bed. Dorm style, but pretty darn cool.
No, do we do? But she gets
Just a bunch of ibexes having a little morning breakfast. Incredible. So the last day of hiking is relatively chill. We still have 12K ahead of us, but we're going through that valley back to Sotrace and then eventually taking that bus back. So we're finish off our big loop. So this is kind of an interesting difference where starting in a small little Spanish town and then hiking on some little farmhouse roads through the gorgeous valleys with the cows and their little cabins. Not bad, folks. Yes, all done. I don't care whatever trip you're on, it's always nice to be done. We're back in Sotres, amazing loop, incredible park. So many great memories and vistas that I just didn't even know existed. So pretty. It's time for a rest and maybe a beer. Well, final thoughts on this hut-to-hut experience. Huge thumbs up. I absolutely loved it, and it's a very new experience for me. And I know for a lot of you European hikers, this is kind of old hat. Like if you've got the hut-to-hut, you know that it's an option. Sometimes you can use it, sometimes you don't, you choose not to. But for us Americans, we don't have these. We have very nice lodges in the national parks and very nice state parks around the country, but we don't have these specific huts or refugios or cabins and those kind of things. Because a lot of our food and our lodging was taken care of at the huts, it really was a different equation as far as packing and equipment. Yeah, we needed to pack some snacks and making sure we had our water bottles for staying hydrated, but we didn't have to take a tent. We didn't have to take a sleeping bag. Didn't have to take the camp stove. Those things are pretty standard for my backpacking trips, and it was nice just to not to have that and to have the pack be a little bit lighter, be a little bit more nimble on the trail. Think of these refugios as bed and breakfasts in the mountains, and that sounds pretty great. The food was delicious. You know, maybe it's not exactly what you want, but it was filling, it was tasty. That was included in the price, but plenty of food. Did have vegetarian options. Saw some neighbors to the next of us that were vegetarians eating some pretty good looking things. So if that's a concern. So very hospitable, very fun and warm and just welcoming of the hikers as they're on their journey. And the second one was, I can't believe that place exists. It is so ridiculous that it's sitting there on the side of a mountain, and there's draft beer, there's snacks, there's warm showers over a mile up. Just, all of us were just in awe of this place and so happy that we were there and that we earned that night's sleep. This specific route was great. Good amount of time for a nice introduction to the park. We got to see the beautiful meadows. We got to meet some new cow buddies. Got to see the Picos when they came out from the clouds, and multiple basins and complexes of ridgelines that were just absolutely beautiful. I will say for this specific route, if you do want to do this, day 2 for me is a moderate scramble. For a lot of you guys out there, it'd be moderate plus to more. A couple folks in our group, it was a little challenging for them, but they got through it, which is always a good thing. But just so you know that day 2 is, you're gonna need some GPS, you're gonna need some route finding, you're gonna need some good shoes, maybe some gloves because the rock was pretty prickly, and you're just gonna need to take it slow and steady to get through some of these exposed open rock areas where there isn't a super defined trail. But we all got through it, all good, and made that draft beer extra good. And surprisingly, the last day in Espimano was quite delightful. We thought it would just kind of be, you know, kind of walking on some paved roads and through a valley or something, but sort of exceeded all of our expectations in a great way to end this journey on sort of a moderate level while still seeing something super pretty. And with this one, it was sort of a loop, so it's kind of fun to be able to have a coffee at a cafe to start it and have a beer at the same cafe to end it here in Sotres. So to me, this is why you travel, folks. This is why you go outside. This is why you explore. This is why you see new places, but you also get to eat new foods, experience new ways of enjoying the outdoors. It doesn't all have to be hiking the PCT or the AT. It doesn't all have to be day hikes. It doesn't all have to be, you know, a week out there charging. It can be a different kind of trip. And for me, this is a hybrid trip where I so enjoyed exploring the huts in the refugio style of outdoor adventures, seeing all the climbers getting ready to climb a huge spire right in front of the refugio, and also staying in a hostel in a small town, experiencing a town that only had like 3 restaurants that didn't open until, you know, like 8 or 8:30 because we're in Spain, and walking on just a service road or a forest mountain road where the goats and the ibex and the cows are walking too. This was a very fun adventure and a nice mixture of a lot of things. But please put Picos de Europa on your bucket list. When I first saw this jumped to like number 1 or number 2. I didn't know it existed, and you guys should know this exists. You should put it on your bucket list because it is so beautiful, relatively approachable to get to, and well worth the journey to get here, and well worth the experience to just see it. It's so pretty and so different, and we're all so happy to have shared it together. That's what it's all about. Sharing of the outdoor experience together with some great meals. Thanks to Book of Trekking for reaching out earlier, and thanks for organizing this trip. All the details were super helpful and really put us on our way to a great time. And thanks to my 4 great friends who joined me on this adventure. I would do this trip by myself, but it is so much more fun to do this with your friends and to share the experience, both of the outdoor adventures, the route finding, the vistas, the memories, the foods, the shopping, all of that kind of thing. But Lisa, Lassassin, Sarah, S'mores, our food group, Paul, Guanaco Jockey, and Kyle Redbeard, who actually had his birthday on this trip, and Kyle and Lisa had their anniversary on this trip. So very special trip for them, and very glad that they can share that experience with all of us. But can't thank them enough for joining me on this trip. So fun to do this all together. But get out there, cook something amazing somewhere awesome, provision somewhere new, explore somewhere fun. It doesn't have to be a crazy European adventure, but sometimes it is, and it is great. So get out there. Boca boca.